This is the Slater Report podcast. It's a new day. Today is Wednesday, February 20th, and I got a big show planned for you. I'm live on YouTube right now. Well, actually, since if you probably didn't pay attention to last week, I tried to do a new show called Bracket Bubble. I tried to do it live. It didn't go as planned. A lot of technical difficulties with it going live with the graphics and all of that. So this audio is actually pre-recorded, so I can make sure that the graphics look okay and have a better production for live videos. So I think I'm gonna do the audio pre-recorded for a while until I get it live nailed down. But anyway, this is a Slater Report podcast you haven't known already, and this is my Super Bowl recap. Basically, you see the title? It's Super Turf. Yep, I'm talking about that turf. If you didn't watch the Super Bowl, well, you probably should. And if you did, you know what I'm talking about. That turf was terrible. But I'll get to that later on in the show. But first off, let's talk about the Super Bowl, the actual game, the Chiefs, the Eagles. This is probably one of the most hype Super Bowls for me in a while. The one Super Bowl that I was really looking forward to, because the past 5 years, I really haven't been looking to the Super Bowl because it's been all Tom Brady, and we already know who's going to win. It really wasn't that much hype. Basically, where I was more hyped for the halftime entertainment, and the halftime entertainment really hasn't been that great lately. So, and this year I was a lot more hyped for the actual game than the halftime performance. I didn't even know who. I found out until just a couple days before the game who was doing halftime, because I was really more into the game this year, basically. Chiefs, the Eagles. Wow, what a game! Let's take a look at a breakdown of the game for you. This is the halftime stats. Yes, Eagles controlled majority of the first half. In fact, that was literally the longest I've seen Patrick Mahomes on the field. Not because he's injured, not because of an injury. It's because the Eagles controlled possession. They stayed on the field the longest in the first half. They were winding down the clock. They would not let the Chiefs' offense get on the field. And the Eagles had some pretty good defense, too. Both teams did score a touchdown the first drive, but after that, the Eagles' defense locked in, and they forced a Chiefs field goal to. It didn't just miss; it bounced off the upright. That was probably one of the most. Even though I was cheering for the Chiefs, I was laughing so hard at that field goal. I was like, "What? How? You're in the NFL? How do you do that?" But nerves, I guess. You're in the Super Bowl. And also, that turf was terrible. If I haven't mentioned that already. That was just giving us a preview of what the turf was going to give us later on in the game. But, yeah. What a show by the Eagles the first half. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes doesn't give up. We go in the halftime, they got an extra game, they got more, because the halftime show, they got more time to put a second half game plan together instead of just using the restroom, getting a snack, a quick, do this instead, or from the coach, or a little heads up or motivation for the coach for a couple minutes, and then, once again, you're back on the field. No, they got a lot more time to prep for the second half, and I gotta say, the Chiefs were ready. Boy, was that a second half. The Chiefs came back to the game. The Eagles had a hard time. It was back and forth. The Eagles were still scoring. The Chiefs scored a whole lot quicker, and they found a way to get back into it. And they took their first lead of the game in the fourth quarter. There's the final score of the game. Chiefs won 38-35. boy, was that a game. I'm going to break that game down even more. Right now, it's time for the picks of the week, Super Bowl 57 edition. And here's the take a look at all the best picks from the Super Bowl. Let's take a look at it. Of course, every national TV broadcast in their Super Bowl, whenever they get it, this year it would be Fox. They always introduce new graphics card and new graphic card. That's computer. New graphics, do score bug. They really try to make everything new. But Fox said they really like what they had, but they're gonna make some tweaks to make it more modern. And I gotta say, when they said that, I was like, oh, okay, they're not even gonna change that much. I was envisioning in my head, maybe they'll do a couple changes, well, to really move things around. Now look at this, when the kickoff went out and they showed it, I was like, wow, that looks amazing. That's a lot more changes than what they were saying they were gonna do. And I gotta say, it does modernize it, but I can still see it still has that feel of their old one. But and the same kind of features with, the quarterback stats and the running back stats or receiver stats, whoever caught it or running it, the little info on the side. They still have that feature, but I gotta say, it looks a lot better, and I love it. In case you're wondering, they still do those cartoon graphics, too, for the player, the headshots. And I actually like this. Some people don't like the cartoon things. I like it. I think it's cool, creative. I mean, I really wasn't a big fan of Fox's graph scoreboard. I think it was too plain and boring of a graphic. I mean, pretty basic. I mean, it worked. It did its job, but I think it really wasn't creative. This looks amazing. And I gotta say, you one you had last year, last Super Bowl. I gotta say, it worked. It just wasn't creative. I give it a scale of 1 to 5, I give it a 3. This one, I give it a 5. This one was creative, and it looked really good. And then, we get into the halftime performance, and it was Rihanna. And I gotta say, I'm really not a big fan because, it's so weird. It's so weird to watch, the weird dance moves and all that. Can you just give us just a normal, old-fashioned, halftime show? I think my favorite, so far, I think my favorite halftime show, my last favorite halftime show was Bruno Mars. It's been that long that I've seen a great halftime show. I mean, you don't have to do all the crazy dance moves. Just give us the good song that we know and love, and bring in some guests. But, I don't even think you need guests. Just you sing the song, couple dance moves, couple costume changes, and that's it. You don't need to do any cool special effects or whatever Oompa Loompa background dancer you had there. Yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, why are there Oompa Loompas on the field? I mean, they seriously look like Oompa Loompas. That was my initial reaction. I was like, what am I watching? I don't get that at all. You can say what you want, but I'm calling them Oompa Loompas. Yeah, the Oompa Loompas are back. They're bringing their dances, and as you probably listened very closely and turn Rihanna's mic off and listen to them, I think they're singing Oompa, Oompa, Doopity Doo. Very, very softly, but I think you can hear them. Next pick, because, this was a very questionable call late in the game. If you were watching, there was this really big holding call on the Chiefs' last drive of the game, or the Chiefs' game-winning drive, and they called holding on this. To me, that does look like holding. I agree with the call. But if you were watching the whole game like I was, you realize that the officials were just letting them play. It wasn't that the officials just weren't seeing them or whatever. They were really soft penalties, like, oh, okay. I mean, they're both fighting for the ball, or like it's a very physical game, the Super Bowl. Of course, they both want the trophy. We're just going to let them play. It was a very low, surprisingly, it was a very low, the first half, there was a penalty every play, but I think they cleaned that up and got things settled in the second half. I think that's the only penalty I saw the whole second half. I mean, I saw very many penalties in this game. I was like, I think it was a clean game, to be honest. I mean, they just let him play. There really wasn't, majorly big early on tackle or that, big contact before the ball came in. Immediately flag throw, and they got the fans upset. I see that as like, yeah, that's by rule, that is holding. But to me, I still think it's holding, but it's really stopped. I mean, it really didn't impact it, and plus, I think it was overthrown, but again, it could have slowed him down, but I mean, I really don't see that it could have slowed him down that much for the ball to go that way over his head, but, or way up in front of him. So, to me, I think it is the right call, but, and I was cheering for the Chiefs, and I was like, wait, did they just call a penalty? I was like, that was not the right call. So, for anyone that's confused, my thing, was it holding? By rule, yes. By the way the officials were calling the game that night, no, it was not the right call. And then the Chiefs should have went for it on that fourth down. And to end to end the game on a penalty like that, I think it's terrible. The bad rev for the Super Bowl, because you want a good, clean game. You don't want the game to be decided on a penalty on the last play of the game. That's terrible. Even if I was cheering for the Chiefs, I was like, I don't want to win like this. Come on. I'm actually really upset about that penalty call. Much as they're fans, although it is the right call, I'll take it. I mean, I'll take it. I'm cheering for the Chiefs. I'll take it. But I mean, really, honestly, what was going in the official's head at that moment? All right, moving on to my main topic of this episode. Yeah, natural grass or turf was the question for the NFL in this game. Should they do natural grass or turf? The NFL said yes. So, they kind of did both. It is new technology. Is actually they're trying to create like a new version of grass. I don't know. I'm trying not to get too technical into it, but it is real grass, but it's new grass, so it's kind of fake. So they invented a new grass, and it didn't work. Or here's the thing, they decided to test it for the Super Bowl, which I think is a stupid idea. And I think their plan is to make football field the best for players, best to move around, and they're just test this new type of grass they invented. What better way to test it than the Super Bowl? For millions! I think 11.3 million fans, I think according to Fox, watched the Super Bowl. And saw that disaster. I noticed it in the second quarter, how terrible the turf was. I mean, that was a complete disaster. You see the footage right there that they had to come out, fix the field multiple times, and even, the TV audience did see it because they had to delay the game for a couple minutes to fix the field. And I think the actual main part of the field they had to fix is where they painted it, which, actually I've been seeing Oklahoma State all week long before the Super Bowl started. They were hyped up of how, this grass was grown and invented by Oklahoma State University. We painted the field and everything. Now they're getting a lot of heat now because they took credit for this. Even though they just did the painted part, a lot of people are blaming them because they hyped it up. They were so proud of this field that they're now taking the blame for the part that may not even be their fault. Alright? But, I mean, part of it's their fault, but not totally. I mean, I think the main part is the NFL. I mean, I've heard this has been NFL's problem for multiple years. Why does the NFL use turf? They have the money to use natural grass. I've heard players, a bunch of players in the NFL, college, anyone I've talked to, not a big fan of turf. I played on a turf field in high school. It's not fun to play on. It's like an ice rink. And what I heard from players of the Super Bowl is it's like playing on a hockey court or a hockey field. That sounds terrible. I mean, I was hearing players saying that they had in huddle, or before they're lining up, they had to look down and look where they step so they don't trip on that field. That tells me that field's in horrible position. I mean, I've seen bad fields. But for the NFL, I mean, you gotta get that active. The NFL's got the money to get. I mean, sure, do you want to do a turf field? Go ahead. The NFL's got the money to make a good one. But that was a disaster. I mean, I couldn't believe how bad the field looks. Use natural grass. That's the best. I played on turf and grass. I never had a good experience with turf. Natural grass is the best field for football. There's nothing wrong with natural grass. Why is the NFL, and I heard that there are some colleges that want to get turf a try. High school's been, I think every high school I know does turf. Why? I know that it's cheaper than natural grass, but I mean, you still gotta replace it and repair it and maintenance it. Just use natural grass. It's safer, it looks better, and yeah, I mean, you still gotta maintenance it a lot better than turf because you gotta water it, cut it, paint it, but a lot more work, but it still gives you the best result for a football game. Tell me I'm wrong. Alright? Alright, next pick. Let's get to it. Chiefs win! Woo! Yeah! Oh, yeah. All I've been hearing is all the last couple months is, the Eagles are definitely gonna win that. Chiefs have no chance. Eagles for the win. Eagles for the win. I mean, Eagles fans were already celebrating before the game started because they felt so confident they were gonna win this game. I liked the Chiefs' energy. The offensive line and the offense. Patrick Mahomes gives you so much energy, and they're so passionate. They had so much fun. I knew they were not. If they are down, they are not giving up on this game. And also I'm a big Oklahoma fan. Didn't know, and I like cheering for. And also, I'm a big offensive line fan. And Chief Humphrey, man, he is a beast on that. And also, take note. Eagles, one of the best defensive line in the NFL. The Chiefs' offensive line allowed 0 sacks that night. Round of applause for the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes he did like twist his ankle or whatever early in the second quarter, but he fight through it. The way he played, it didn't look like he was injured at all. And that big running play he had, boy, was that a run. It didn't look like he was injured at all. And I'm sure right now that, after he celebrates and has his party and all that, the parade, I know it was earlier this weekend, but I'm sure he's relaxing, getting it healed because he's got the whole off season now to get that thing healed up because they got a Super Bowl and a trophy to redeem next year because they're national championships. Chiefs win, and also I picked the Chiefs just because everyone else was picking the Eagles. I think every one of Fox's analysts, ESPN, I think every reporter I saw picked the Eagles, and I was like, I'm just gonna pick the Chiefs. I know I'm a big Chiefs fan, but I'm picking one of the big sides I'm picking Chiefs is just if the Chiefs win, I can laugh in a reporter's face. So take this, ha! I get bragging rights now. Yeah, this is the type of game you get bragging rights. I get it, ha! Take that. I'm not even a professional analyst. I'm not even like a real hired by ESPN or a big time company. And even I saw the Chiefs winning more than any of the experts thought. I'm not even an expert in predicting these games. And yet, if you watch it, even when, and I barely watched many NFL games this year, and even I saw the Chiefs winning. I mean, come on. I'm a big college football fan, and I know sometimes I do get college football games wrong, I know. But majority of the time, I am right. I know I need to get better at covering to get the spread. But when it comes to actually teams winning the game, I'm spot on. Even in college hoops, there are so many upsets this year. Even with Tennessee beating number 10 Tennessee beating number 1 Alabama in college basketball, I had Tennessee winning. They won. Boom. I mean, I've called some of the biggest upset in college basketball this year that no one else saw. I got right. Hire me, ESPN, hire me right now. I need to be an analyst on your show because you can even, if you don't, I mean, I got proof. Go to my other YouTube videos. I mean, you can hear me calling out who's gonna win each game. I get them right before the game plays. Come on, hire me. I'm just joking. I actually love what I do, and not to hate on the others. I know it's really hard to predict these games. I'm just really excited the Chiefs won and rub it in the Eagles fans' face and everyone that thought the Eagles were going to win. I don't know why people hate the Chiefs so much. I just don't know why. Anyway, but to give it some love or whatever, some brotherly love, some rivalry. Yeah, two brothers played against each other in this Super Bowl. There's a picture of them together after the game, and the mother obviously wearing a jacket with one on each side. So it's a really cool moment, and I love seeing things like that. And then, oh yeah, here's what I talked about earlier. Oh yeah, best shirt ever. Chiefs O-line. Wow! 0 sacks allowed. I want that shirt. Can someone get me that shirt? I want that shirt. Yeah, that's Creed Humphrey, the center for the Chiefs. Yep. It's an awesome shirt, and I don't think that's something that they'll ever achieve again. And also, one last thing is Super Bowl 58 LVII logo. That's a weird thing to say. Anyway, new logo, or they introduced their logo for next year's Super Bowl. It's in Las Vegas. And there it is, a good representation. Yeah, you can see the Las Vegas sign right there, and a couple of the famous buildings inside the logo. I think that's really cool. And I also like that they're actually starting to add more color and more life to the logos the past couple years, and I actually like it. If we could, yeah, lately they've been, I mean, I know they wanted to use like a template and make them all like representing close to each other instead of creating like a new logo every year, but I gotta say, they are starting to get them more creative with it, which I like to see. Also, we got a basketball game tonight. Kansas, TCU, the Big 12 game. Yeah, it's always a Big 12 game. 8 o'clock, ESPN getting ready to tip off. It's a big game. Can't wait to watch it. Getting ready to watch it. Of course, I'm actually recording this game before all the Saturday games happen, so I had no idea what their rankings will be. And of course, obviously, I'm recording this before the past Saturday. Obviously, it's before the rankings come out. So, I had no idea where these will be. But I'm assuming if both these two teams win Saturday, this is going to be a key ranked matchup. Especially, not only an important one for Kansas, as they're coming off of a home game. If they win, hopefully they win. I'm predicting they win. But TCU, home against a really good Kansas team. If I were to pick who win this game, they're both coming off a win. I got Kansas winning this game. It's going to be a really important one for the Big 12, especially for Kansas, because, I mean, they're coming on. I mean, they're kind of getting a little breather after playing in Baylor. But, I mean, Baylor is really good. I mean, they won 2 years ago. So, keep an eye out, TCU, because Kansas is coming after you. And TCU really hasn't been that strong lately. But, I got Kansas winning the game tonight. Alright, thanks for watching the Slater Podcast live on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll see you all on Hardwood Hoops on Wednesday. This is the Slater Report Podcast.